Yeah, I mean, I say that it accelerates the sales process because it's a faster way to build the like and trust online.
You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 327. And today we're going to learn from an industry expert how to amplify your brand using video. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hey there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's your host, Melanie Benson. And today we're going to be talking about how to use video to amplify your brand and your online presence. And my hope is it's going to really help you attract more clients, but also help people understand why you are an authority and why they should choose you. I love video. And everybody has like their own style with video, but I also recognize a lot of people aren't comfortable on video. So I asked this person to come and talk with us today and share from an introvert's point of view how to really like step into video in a powerful way. Now, my favorite way to attract new clients is from guesting on other people's podcasts. You probably know that by now. I talk all the time about the guest expert system. And whether you're doing video or you're doing video interviews or you're doing podcast interviews or you're being a guest on someone else's stage in any way, shape, or form, I can guarantee you one thing. If you are not experiencing a steady flow of clients into your community, into your lead generation, whatever that is, then chances are you're making at least one of 17 super common mistakes that guest experts make. And this not only applies to being a guest expert, a lot of these things apply to any kind of visibility strategy that you're creating. And so I've created a scorecard that you can download if you go to melaniebenson.com/magnetize, and I'll link that up in the show notes. You can hop over to that, download the scorecard, and there's some bonus training available for you if you want to take that further and really unpack how to really be an in-demand guest expert. So head over to melaniebenson.com/magnetize, download the 17 mistakes scorecard, and I'd love to hear what you think it is. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back, Amplifiers. I'm so excited to bring you Lou Bortone today. We're going to be talking about using video to amplify your online presence. And of course, if you know Lou, we got to talk about video, but let me give you a little bit of background on Lou. Lou Bortone has been a pioneer and thought leader in the video space since the launch of YouTube in 2005. And I got to tell you, he has some of the funniest videos and memes he creates online. I get a real kick out of it. But uh, prior to his industry leading work in online video marketing, he spent 20 years as a marketing executive in the television and entertainment industries, including stints on E! Entertainment Television and Fox Family Worldwide in LA. And now he's coming to us right here on Amplify Your Success to share some of his hot tips. So, Lou, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Melanie. It's really good to be here, and it's really good to talk to a person that I know in real life.
I know, right? Yeah, Lou and I, wow, I guess we've probably known each other almost since the beginning of when you got into business.
I think
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, 'cause I
Yeah.
was back in the day, and, but, now since the pandemic is kinda getting over, we're sorta getting back to real life events again, but, yeah, we've been counting on Zoom more than ever.
Hmm. Yeah, and I know it's funny to talk about video stuff when you're on an audio podcast, but one of the predictions, you probably know I co-host a podcast with my friend Samantha Riley called Next
Yeah.
Level Influence. And one of our predictions we made as we entered into 2023 on the podcast was the traction that video is going to have in dominating social media and the way we build our brand on social media. So I think this is very timely.
Yes, and, audio is a lot of the audio podcasts, going video as well. So if you're doing an audio podcast, it's not that difficult to repurpose it for video as well.
Right. Okay. So, fun fact, I don't know if you know this, but my very first podcast, I was a trendsetter before it was a trend. I actually had a video podcast.
Cool.
And then I was like, this is way too hard. And I went audio only. And now I'm like, oh, now we have a million tools for a video podcast. So,
Yeah, but
apparently
having
I
come
was
out
just,
of radio, I mean, I started in radio and everything was, like we lived on audio. We talked about theater of the mind and how awesome it is. And the advantage that podcasting and radio have is that it's mobile and you can go anywhere and listen virtually anywhere.
yeah, exactly. I love podcasting. It is not going to go away anytime soon. So,
That's for
well, let's
sure.
talk about video.
Sure.
Yeah. So, you've been in it since the like emergence of video online. What do
Mhm.
you see happening going forward with video that's making it a must-have marketing strategy?
Well, I think the pandemic accelerated this trend, but basically the fact that, before video was kind of like, oh, I guess I should do this. And it was sort of a, not a have to have. And now I call it like a have to have because everyone is communicating this way. It's the best way to connect and engage online. And especially now that there are hybrid events and remote work, we count on video more than ever to basically, communicate.
Mhm. Yeah. And maybe even like from my point of view, like there's maybe even more than communication. It's like how we get to know someone's energy.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Even on a Zoom, you can pick up on that.
Mhm.
And we've all had to rely on that the last few years with the pandemic. But I feel like there are people, I mean, we've met in person, but there are people that I've known for maybe 10 years that I've never met face to face. It's all been video. And I still feel like they're very, very good friends.
Mhm.
It's kind of
Yeah.
weird, but it's cool.
I think it's the kind of the wave of this future we are now living is
Hmm.
video is a way of connecting and building community, and it's also a way of showcasing your brand
Yeah.
and what you're about. And like yes, we can be very contrived in a video, but I think
Hmm.
people can read through that now. Like
Yeah.
it's like video is a way we really connect with people where it's multi-dimensional versus just like this flat piece of copy that we're trying
Right.
to get tone and energy and who are they real and all that stuff out of a piece of copy.
Yeah, I mean, I say that it accelerates the sales process because it's a faster way to build know, like, and trust
Mhm.
online. And now, I mean, that's the other trend is that, video has become a little bit more mass market. So I don't think people are as worried as being perfect or being high quality video because these days, almost anything goes.
It's true. Let's just qualify what you mean by video marketing because there's so
Right.
many different ways video works these days, right? There's
Mhm.
video webinars, there's short videos, there's video
Yeah.
shows that we might have via live stream, there's
Mhm.
pre-recorded video. What do you think is like the go-to right now in video marketing?
Yeah, and it's funny because I do use that sort of umbrella term, and I use it to mean basically using video to connect and engage with your customers. So obviously, I mean, you can't have that conversation without YouTube because they're sort of the 800-pound gorilla in the space. And YouTube continues to grow and grow and grow, and now they're doing YouTube Shorts to kind of answer their answer to TikTok. But I think ultimately, it's anytime you put video on a social platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Insta, etc.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's what I thought you would mean, but I just want to make sure we get everybody on the same page with this.
Yes.
So you alluded to this a minute ago, but let's unpack this a little bit
Mhm.
more. How can video exponentially increase the reach of your impact and your influence?
Well, I'm going to give away my age here a little bit, but when I was growing up, there were three TV networks, and that's who controlled everything that you saw in the media other than newspapers. And then back in the day when I worked in cable, there were a lot of cable networks, but it was still pretty, pretty elite and pretty controlled by big media. And now anyone with a cell phone and a YouTube account can reach the world. I mean, virtually, literally reach anyone anywhere. So it's really been sort of democratized and opened up. And I think that's the big thing is that, now anyone can do this. We see, we're seeing TikTok stars and people that like, well, not the teenagers anymore, but my twins who are in their 20s always talk about so and so. I'm like, I don't even know who that is. Come on, Dad, she's got 50 million followers on TikTok. You have to know who that is.
Because we follow all the same people, of course.
Oh yeah, yeah. They basically said you can have Facebook if you stay off TikTok, and I'm like, I have to at some point I have to delve into TikTok because I'm a video person. So
Well, we can do that little journey together because I just got on TikTok as
Mhm.
well. So we can be TikTok accountability
Yes.
partners. Cool. Well, and I know that video can be scary for a lot of people,
Hmm.
especially if maybe they have a bit more introversion and
Yeah.
they don't see themselves as a big personality, or they don't really see themselves like a celebrity brand.
Right.
Would you, and I think you've shared this before,
Yeah.
you're a bit more on the introverted side. Like,
Mhm.
how do you like find that mental space
Mhm.
to step in and do video the way you do?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because I think I'm the poster child for camera shy video people, and I am an introvert, and I always worked on the other side of the camera in television, so I was never ever on air. And the thought of being in front of a camera, I mean, that's even to me, it's even scarier than being on a stage in front of people, which is a little strange. But I think the way that I got over it and that I try to help others get over it is just say, you know what, just get over it. But just try to be yourself and realize that people probably are not going to say, "Oh my God, what is he wearing?" It's really more about the content than the messenger. So I think a lot of it's just kind of getting over that hump of that initial hump of being on camera and learning to talk into a funny little green dot.
Yeah, almost like having a system for,
Hmm.
tapping into your knowledge base and sharing something
Yeah.
versus feeling like, "Oh, I gotta figure something out today. What am I gonna say?" Which is my big stumbling block, right? Like, I will
Hmm.
fully admit I get camera shy as well, which might be shocking to some people. But yes, like, I can sit behind a microphone all day long, but we put a camera on and it's
Hmm.
nerve-wracking. Like,
Yeah.
I got invited to go do a video, like a filmed series,
Hmm.
and it was not just little old Melanie's, Zoom camera. It's like a
Hmm.
big production, and I was terrified. And
It can be nerve-wracking. I think part of
yeah,
it, you have to decide that your message is bigger than your fear.
there you
Your
go.
your desire to get your message out has to be bigger than your fear, which hopefully will only last for a few minutes when you're first starting.
Thank you for sharing that because I think that's what people need to hear today, especially if you are leading with a little more introversion or are
Mhm.
wondering, like, do I even have a message?
Yeah, and when my kids were younger, I could pull them in and do anything to take away, distract, put the dogs in, put the kids in, use costume. I mean, you've seen me dress up like a goofball and do goofy videos. Initially, that was my defense against being camera shy.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
figure
it's okay to
if
have
I make it,
props.
yeah, yeah, make a fool of yourself, and then you have nothing to lose after that.
I love it. Well, we're kind of already on this subject, so let me just
Hmm.
jump to like what are the best ways to get started?
Hmm.
Especially if you've been making up a lot of excuses about doing
Right.
video or you feel kind of nervous about it or wondering what to
Hmm.
say. What are some of your
Yeah,
tips there?
definitely. I think playing off that sort of camera shy piece, I think that live video and specifically Facebook Live is probably the low hanging fruit of video and probably an easy way to start because the expectations are not quite as great. It tends to be, I call it sort of like a come as you are party. Hey, I'm just going to hop on Facebook Live. I don't care that I just got out of the gym. I have a quick message I want to share. So I like to start there because again, I think there's just a little bit less pressure on Facebook Live because people are more accepting and the expectations are a little bit lower.
So just start right where you are and get
Hmm.
over yourself, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you can do Facebook Live from your phone, so you don't have to be in a specific location. And then once you get a little bit more comfortable with that, then maybe you delve into YouTube and LinkedIn and other platforms.
Talk about that a little bit more because I think maybe one of the things that gets in people's way, and this is bringing up another question I want to ask you, but like what gets in people's ways is like, okay, Should I be doing a YouTube live channel? Should I
Mm,
just be doing, Instagram videos? Like, what should I be doing? What are the best video platforms to leverage
right.
for myself right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what I usually advise is that you have to find your video sweet spot. And your video sweet spot is like, what platform are you comfortable on, and your followers, viewers, whomever are also on. So if a year ago I wouldn't have done TikTok because my audience is not there. Today it may be different, but again, I try to find, am I more comfortable with live video? Is my sweet spot doing Zoom interviews? Is my sweet spot doing pre-recorded videos and scripted videos? So it really just depends. There's a lot of ways to come at it, and you have to find what works best for you.
Mm. So as we look to this next 12 months that we're looking at, what's going to be the video platform you're moving towards doing more on?
I have been dragged kicking and screaming into TikTok, so I'm going to do more of that. And part of it's just that, I'm not sure if I approach it like everything else. Okay, should I do tips videos and share this or that? Or should I do videos of the dogs, which always get more views than my videos? So a lot of it's just kind of experimenting and finding that sweet spot. And even within the platform itself, let me find what the best way to use TikTok is, and then I'll do more of it.
Well, I can share with you. I'm
Mhm.
7 days in on TikTok, a whole 7 days, right?
Hmm.
But what I noticed, I tested
Yeah.
4 different kinds of TikTok videos, so to
Oh,
speak.
wow. Yep.
And what I found is the dog videos did not get much traction, but that doesn't mean
Yeah.
they wouldn't if I had your
Mhm.
cute dogs. Um, the ones that got the best traction were audiograms of my
Oh,
podcast.
cool.
And secondly, were, like, just talking videos where I
Yeah.
had, like, something that was
Mhm.
very relevant in the market, and just those short, snappy talking videos with the
Yep.
captions perform best. So, there's my knowledge transfer to the video god here, and you do with it what you will, but now we've gotta connect on
Thank you.
TikTok and
Yeah, that's
track
good.
what each other's doing.
I mean, that's the thing. If you're willing to experiment, you're going to find over time what is resonating with your audience and kind of double
Mhm.
down on what's working.
Yeah, and I'll give a little props to my friend Christy Ling. She's like, "You have to be on TikTok," because I really resisted for a long time.
Hmm.
But I agree with you, and I would say short video is
Hmm.
probably gonna be a big theme this year.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
also know a lot of people that are killing it with YouTube channels, so it'll be
Hmm.
interesting to see what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard. Like people say, "Oh, I don't know, how can I possibly get a message across in 10 or 15 seconds?" It's like, well, the TV networks have been doing it for 50 years, so they have 15-second TV spots, so you can do a 15-second video.
Yeah, like, that's such a great point, and I think if you can't get your point across in 15 seconds, you maybe need to work
Mhm.
on messaging a little bit, right?
Right. Yep.
But what is a trick for how you wrap your head around a 15-second video? Like, do you have a little arc of what you do on your other platforms, or how do you do that?
A lot of it again is just experimentation. Like, how can I whittle this down to the bare essence and
Mm,
still make it entertaining and engaging? And I think the thing with TikTok is there's so much motion and music and lip sync and audio that there's a lot of stimulation. So you can squeeze a lot of stuff into a short video.
mhm. Well, I want to ask you about common mistakes that
Hmm.
people make, especially entrepreneurs
Yeah.
when they're creating video for lead attraction. Because there's a lot of
Right.
reasons to we do video, right? But let's
Yeah.
talk about lead attraction video.
Hmm.
Um, Tell me what you see happening, and then I might have a couple follow-up questions on this one.
Excellent. I think the biggest issue is just people not getting started because they're either worried about the sort of perfection trap, or they feel like that they have to have a certain persona on video that they don't have anywhere else. It's like, the more wise ass I got on video, the more followers I had. The more I became sort of like, I'm just going to be myself and be a goofball and, drop a few F-bombs here and there. And those people, what's the expression? Some people are not your people. If they don't like it, then they don't have to watch. So I think
Yeah,
part of
there
it's
you
just like
go.
get over the perfection trap and be as you as possible.
Well, isn't that like what we ultimately want from our clients, right? We want to attract
Yeah.
people that like us, that want to work with us. So if we're
Hmm.
like not us genuinely on our video and in our marketing, like we're
Yeah,
not really pulling the best people towards us.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. What do you think about, okay, couple questions around mistakes and best
Hmm.
practices. Like,
Yep.
what do you think about like the trend following, especially on short videos
Yeah.
versus alignment with your brand?
Right.
What's your vote?
I mean, that's the thing. If I started doing karaoke videos, with Rihanna lyrics in the background, it's kind of like, okay, there's big disconnect. So you have to find that intersection of your own brand and the platform. Like, okay, does the platform lend itself to this? So, okay, if they like funny videos, I did a video the other day where, saying people had irritable video syndrome instead of IBS, and I had my little doctor costume, and okay, that might work on TikTok because it's short and funny and punchy, and it's still within my brand because sometimes I do goofy costumes and stuff. But I'm not going to do Rihanna karaoke. That's just not my not my thing.
That is hilarious. Okay. Short video,
Hmm.
which is usually 50 seconds or less, and what I've heard even on Instagram, six
Yeah.
second videos are being rewarded. So short versus longer,
Hmm.
more like built out
Yeah.
videos. What's your vote these days?
I like to have a combination because the short videos can lead people to the longer ones, and especially on YouTube. YouTube wants you to spend as much time as possible on their platform, so they're really rewarding videos that are 10 or 15 minutes. And like a podcast is maybe 22 minutes or a half hour. I think there's definitely a place for that, and you can't just say, I'm only going to do short videos from now on, because then you'll never get any real traction on YouTube.
Great point. Okay. Interview style
Hmm.
or solo?
Right. Again, I think it's, what are you comfortable with? What is your audience going to resonate with? And there's no reason why you can't do both and still be on brand.
Love it. I do both. And
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, Lou. I think what happens, especially on the podcast, going back to audio for
Yeah.
a minute, I think people sometimes pay attention based on the guest, but
Hmm.
keep listening
Yeah.
based on my solo episodes.
Yes.
It's really fascinating because then they start to get to know you, the host, and they keep coming
Yeah.
back for those.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that's the perfect combination, I think, for podcasting, because the other part is, like, you got to feed the beast and constantly have guests, but there's that time where I say, hey, I can, over the holiday break, I can record 6 podcasts of my own, and I don't need to wait for a guest or have anybody else on.
Good point. Okay, last contrast.
Hmm.
I love these. This might have to be a new
Yes.
thing I do
Just
on the
so that I
show.
I know that I'm not supposed to say both, but that's been the answer for most of
There's no rules, Lou.
them.
You can do it your way.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you think it's better to do professional, high
Mhm.
quality video or the more organic, raw, behind the scenes, like this is the
Right.
real me kind of videos?
Yeah. And I do have an answer for this, because I call them quick videos versus keeper videos. So a keeper video is, this is going to represent my brand. It's going to be on my homepage or my sales page. It's going to have shelf life. Those are the ones that I really spend time on and edit and clean up and make professional, maybe even hire somebody to do. The quick videos, on the other hand, I'm just going to do a quick video I'm going to do a quick Facebook Live, or I'm going to go on Instagram and do 3 tips. You can do those virtually anytime, anywhere. So I don't worry about the production value. Those are my quick videos, my keeper videos I'll spend more time on.
Great distinctions. Love it. Lou, you have so many great insights, and I actually learned so much from you every time we talk and every time we get to be in each other's space. What's a great resource or place someone could get started to find out more about the work you do?
Sure. My website is loubortone.com. I have a free video planner, because I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks with folks is that they don't know where to begin with video. And I always say, you've got to reverse engineer it like anything else. Begin with the end in mind, kind of back out of it and say, okay, if I want to do such and such, what kind of video is going to get me there? And the planning and strategy piece of it is really important. You can't, I mean, you could just turn on the camera and talk, but I think it's better if you have a plan.
Yeah, I think people feel more confident too if they know where they're
Mhm.
going with the video. I agree. So loubortone.com, and I think you also have /planner gets them right
Yes,
to the
that's it.
video planner, right? Yeah. And we'll
Exactly.
link that up for you all in the show notes because I really want you to head over and pick up this planner. I find that if I take time to
Mhm.
plan it out, I get such better results. And Lou's got such a great resource here. So go get it at loubortone.com/planner.
Thanks.
Lou, I always like to ask my guests a couple fun questions before I let
Sure.
you get off the interview today. And I can't wait to hear your answer to this one. But what would you say is the boldest thing you ever did to
Mhm.
amplify the success of your business?
Oh my gosh. Oddly enough, it was kind of walking away from it. I went to Italy by myself for 3 weeks last year. And
Mm,
I think it may not seem like a bold thing to do, but to basically say, I'm going to take myself out of the day to day of my business and not work for 3 weeks and gallivant around Italy. And yet the business never skipped a beat, revenue wise or anything, because basically I had so much automated and so many things kind of taken care of ahead of time.
that is bold. Do you know how many people like that's the dream is to
Hmm.
be able to go travel around and not have to worry about the day to day. And by the way, I was super jelly every time I would see one of your images on Facebook. I was like, oh, I really want to
Yeah.
be there.
So I guess I didn't totally disappear because I was doing a lot of social and videos and
Yeah.
like, that's not a bad place to do it. But I think for me, it was the fact that I kind of went by myself as well and just said, I'm going to try to work from Italy for a month and see if I can pull it off.
Yeah.
So now that I've done that, I may have to go back and try again.
Now it's a regular thing.
Hmm.
And is there, so if you're looking back from today over the last few years, maybe even
Hmm.
since the start of this particular business, and you
Right.
realize there's one thing you wish you would have done sooner because when you
Mm,
did it, it made such an impact for you. What is it?
right. I think it is meeting partners, like you, or just making
Mm,
those relationships. Because as an introvert and as somebody who was always taught that I can do everything myself and I don't need anybody's help, that's just not possible. You cannot do it alone.
yeah. Plus, it's like, I don't know about you, but to me, collaboration,
Hmm.
it's like connections.
Yeah.
It's like I work out of my home. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't see anybody but my dogs and my husband for weeks
Yeah.
if I
Hmm.
didn't, like, have an active network that I connect and collaborate with, so I love that you
Yeah.
brought that one up. What
Absolutely.
happened when you started developing those connections and collaborating? Was there, like, a really pivotal
Mhm.
success story that came out of that?
Yeah, I mean, things started to come together, and oddly enough, I remember going to a few conferences early on, maybe mid 2000s, and people would say, "Oh, yeah, I know you from that crazy YouTube video." So I kind of felt like, "Oh, I have a little bit of I've done a little bit of work before I meet these people because, they've seen a few videos or they know who I am." Or,
Mm.
in fact, a lot of people would say, "Oh, you're not as crazy in person as you as you are on video." I'm like, yeah, that's just my video personality.
Yeah, I think I had that experience when I met you in person. I was like, "Oh, you're, like, so real and so, like, present." And not that you weren't on your videos, but it's just nice when people in real life are
Yeah.
so human and they truly wanna
Mhm.
connect, so
Yeah. So, and that was the thing. It's like, the minute I kind of let my guard down and did video and talked about what I was passionate about, that's when things really started to fall into place.
nice. Well, thank you for being here today, Lou. You're such
Thank
a
you.
treasure trove of great insights and humor, and you're always bringing a smile to people's faces, and you're one of the most generous, giving people I know. I
Thanks.
highly recommend that you get connected with Lou and deep dive into his planner and get to know his videos. And he's got such great inspiration for you. And come find us on TikTok because
Yeah, we'll be
we're going to
there.
be killing it over there. All
Exactly.
right. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.